Thanks. Okay, are you ready? Do you know how lucky we are to live in the United States? In the Middle East, they would die to live here because there's so much war going on between so many different countries. Today, I want to introduce you what is happening between Israel, Syria, and Turkey. I'll tell you about the ongoing war, who it's hurting, and why it's happening. To start, the war in Israel is never ending. On Sunday, Israel was bombed from Syria, which was really surprising to the IDF, or the Israel Defense Forces. Syria had been firing mortar shells in the Golan Heights, which is the most northern part of Israel, for the past week, when Israel finally fired back a rocket-propelled grenade on a Syrian armed vehicle. And they haven't done that since 1973 because they thought that the war between them was over. Also, Israel hit the Turkey border. So with all the entire bombing happening, many people are being hurt and there are many casualties. According to the CBC News report, there are more than a dozen fatalities in Syria, and at least 70 people were taken to Turkey for treatment. In Israel, there are so far no casualties, but the war is obviously not over. I asked myself, why is this still happening? Since the Yom Kippur War that ended in 1973, bombing has still been happening for many decades. And Israel finally fought back because they knew that the first couple of days of being hit, that Syria was not, was aiming for Israel, and they thought that they were not aiming for Israel. Okay. And thank you for listening to what war is going on in the Middle East, who it's hurting, and why it's happening.
No, that's him speaking. That is him speaking, right?
Who?
Next door?
Yes?
Okay.
It's not a movie. It's a human being speaking.
Who's going to Twilight this weekend? What kind of Americans are you? Twilight is your version of Harry Potter. And you wouldn't go watch it. Oh, Harry Potter's our version. Yeah.
They should just compare Harry Potter
It was
to
by
Twilight.
J.K. Rowling. And they was women.
Sparkling vampires versus little kids.
No, he has to be. They're equally bad. You could have been so short. Get tired of this. It's the same.
Actually, never seen Twilight. So.
New Moon was really good.
No one never dragged me to Twilight. I'm fine with that watching.
Tyler.
I want to be
Hi, good Tyler. Oh, hey. That's not good. I'm about to put your ass on that. He got swole. That's what women are missing class for. Muscles. Yeah,
Jay,
he's a bad
he's
kid.
pretty bad.
When I was a kid on the other
Other
side,
couple times he wasn't
I used
this
to let him
bad.
get in trouble.
It sounds like he's yelling.
Okay, Elyse, the rhetorical question is the attention device is okay. The subject is a little bit broad. The subject's a little bit broad, and it's kind of awkward that it's so broad because you speak about it for such a short amount of time. You know, it feels so underdeveloped, and you're just getting started with the introduction when you finish. I was really surprised at how quickly the content seemed to just wrap itself up. There's not really much discussion of what the political issues are, or what the military position is relative to each country. It sounds like a very brief summary of an event that took place over the weekend, and there's no larger context that is really being talked about. There needs to be a lot more structure to the material also, so I think that that's one of the problems. It's hard to develop anything if you don't have a plan as to where you're going to go with it and what the steps are going to be along the way. You just seem to kind of, like I said, summarize the incident that took place. The delivery factors, you kind of stand back in the corner. I'm not sure why, since you're not using the screen, and we're not going to bite, so you don't have to stand far back from us. Gestures are a little bit limited because you have a kind of a death grip on the notes in your hands, and you want to get away from that. It's a short presentation. I'm not sure why you have a whole page. A simple card probably would have been enough. You're doing a little bit too much reading, and I think that that's a problem. Your facial expressions, there is some vividness in those expressions, but it's hard to make much of an evaluation, like I said, because it feels a little bit underdeveloped. Your voice projects pretty well. There's good variety there. There were a couple of spots where it sounded almost like you were swallowing words and rushing, so you might want to be careful about that. Like I said, your anxiety, I think, comes out in your eye contact and the way you grip the notes while you're speaking, and that's problematic. All right. Thank you.